I'll just deal with
Thank you for tuning in to more Friday coverage on the Our Lads Football Network and with our partners on Fridays with Proline TV, the Playbook ATS podcast for the next 3 weeks. We have now concluded 5/8 of our NFL division offseason preview so far. We have the AFC East today, the NFC North next Friday, and we will conclude with the AFC West in a couple of weeks. So let me bring in our special guest here on the program from Las Vegas, professional handicappers, Andy Iskoe and Jim Feist. How's it going, gentlemen?
On top of the world, man. We're going
fine. With every passing day, we get one closer to the start of the football seasons, college and pro. So the smile gets bigger. So the smiles get bigger a little bit every day.
Yes, we're in the same month of training camp beginning in the NFL.
Yes.
And even though it's a few more weeks away, it's the same month. And so we're almost there.
So we're getting that much closer to Mark rejoining us.
Yes, Mark will rejoin us the week after we are done with our previews. So that'll be on the 24th, the last Friday of the month of July.
That's the 31st.
And so we'll find out exactly what's going on.
The 31st would be the last Friday. That's the one.
Oh, there is a 31st?
Unless we change back to a different schedule.
That's true. Usually Mark likes doing the shows, Thursdays?
I think
Wednesdays?
During the season, we either did it Wednesday or Thursday. I think last year, didn't we do Wednesdays because Victor couldn't make it on Thursdays or something?
No, I couldn't make it on Wednesday because I did the
that's right, the pizza one, the Dom DeMarco,
So it must have been okay. So Thursdays, Either way, we'll let everybody know for sure in a couple of weeks.
The only question is the shelf life of the Thursday night football game. Depending upon when we do it, but
we'll talk to Mark about that. And we'll let everybody know.
And even if we do it on Wednesday, that's going to shorten the shelf life of that first Wednesday night game, which will be the Australia game. Or no, I think that's the Kansas City. The New England at Seattle game is the Wednesday night game.
There, you're getting ahead of yourself now. So
I'm just so excited.
Apparently. So we're talking about the AFC East today. We have two teams that are going to battle it out for the division title and possibly a representative of the AFC in the Super Bowl, and two teams that are on a rebuild the bottom of the AFC. So let's get right to it. We'll start first of all with in order, chronological, or not actually alphabetical order. We're going to go with the Buffalo Bills. And the Buffalo Bills, who really looked like the heavy favorite once again at this time last year, but it didn't turn out that way. And now they are back in the driver's seat as far as Las Vegas is concerned. Their win total is sitting at minus 120, 10.5, over 10.5, under 10.5, plus 100. You've got some other options there. And the schedule situation, just so everybody knows, in the AFC East is the teams, the divisions are going to be the AFC West and the NFC North. Those are the two divisions that these four teams will be playing. And then the three outliers will be played from the AFC, one team each from the AFC South, the NFC West, and the AFC North. The Bills will be at Houston, at the LA Rams, and host Baltimore in those three outliers. Those are some tough matchups.
Baltimore, I thought didn't Baltimore win Pittsburgh won the division last year. So they face a number 2 schedule, and that's a pretty daunting number 2 schedule, at least those first two teams you mentioned, Houston and the Rams.
Yeah, both Buffalo and New England, they have some tough matchups in those, and we'll get to New England's next, or actually in a little bit. But yeah, so this is Buffalo's schedule here. Very tough. By the way,
just to refresh everybody, despite the fact that New England won the division at 14-3, Buffalo still had 12 wins. They were a 12-5 team last year, won their first game and then lost their second game. So it's not as though you normally don't think of a second place team as having more than 10 wins.
Nobody's feeling sorry for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Well, the Buffalo has,
well, except Sean McDermott, who's no longer coaching them.
Well, Buffalo has a number of changes. of course, and New England does not. Their coaching staff is solid and in place. Buffalo's going through a lot of changes, and how is that going to work?
Well, New England's got some personnel changes, and they also have one potential major distraction that we still won't know how much of a distraction it'll be until maybe we get to training camp and the regular season. But as far as Buffalo, this is a very tough schedule out of the gate. Their first 5 games, they'll be playing as tough of a first 5-game stretch as you're going to see out there with these 5 between Houston, Detroit, Chargers, Patriots, and the LA Rams.
That is brutal.
Yeah, tough way to
You
start.
got new offensive coordinator, new head coach.
Oh, you're talking about the Bills?
That's who we're talking about.
Oh, I show they're starting against you're right. Houston, they had the preseason games here. Yeah. The only other one that comes close to that is the Rams' first 5 games, 5 or 6 games.
And taking a look at, again, Joe Brady is now the head coach. So he is the new man in charge, the offensive coordinator. Not really a big surprise. Brady was probably going to end up somewhere else this offseason. And I think that's what changed Buffalo's minds. And they decided, well, let's make the change now. We don't want to lose Brady. So Brady gets the head gig. Jim Leonard comes on board as the new defensive coordinator. So it's a new new staff.
Was he with the Colts previously at some point?
He's been both in college and the NFL. I think he might have been in college last.
Yeah, well, that says here that he only has 3 years of NFL experience. Well, I guess 2 years, because I guess it says 1 year.
He was with Denver.
Yeah, maybe that's who it was.
Well, Leonard is going to bring on a lot of changes on the defensive side.
Yeah.
They're going to be much more aggressive on the front line as opposed to sitting back a lot with a 4-man front and being not conservative, but much less conservative from a blitzing standpoint. They're a whole different team on the defensive side. And the offensive side, we got a brand new offensive coordinator. And, they were like a 50% run team last year. I don't know if they're going to stick with that. They picked up a pretty dynamic, but potentially pretty dynamic wide receiver, which could help Josh Allen. Yeah. He's a talented young man that I think has been underused for years. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Well, I mean, he's not a number one in like the AJ Brown type of number one, but he is definitely a very good talent.
He might be on this team though, wouldn't he?
Who's on this team? Yes,
on this team. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think that's still an issue for the Bills, is that they still don't really have a true number one. But DJ Moore is better than what they've had, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And they also made a nice draft pick with Skylar Bell in round 4. And they have Shakir. So look, it's still not a good unit from top to bottom. And I think some of it is cash problems. Also, some of it is bad drafting. They drafted Keon Coleman in the 2nd round, has been a big disappointment. And they're going to give him another shot, stick with the team this year. But as you can see here on the depth chart, lots of offensive guys that are coming back. The only big addition or subtraction is the wide receiver spot, and that's definitely a plus, having DJ Moore slip into the starting lineup after the trade from Chicago. So that's good news for Bills fans. And look, I don't think the offense is the problem. And so as you talked about, Jim, the defense, that's going to be it. So there's going to be.
By the way, they brought in, it says here, senior assistant, 31 years or 30 years of NFL experience, John Fox. Former coach, Denver, Carolina, etc.
How old is he? 80?
No, he can't be. He's 31. He's probably in his 60s, but
okay.
He's a defensive background.
Yeah, well, that's what they're going to have to do, because even though the defense has been solid, maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need a scheme change. Maybe that'll help. They brought in, as you can see, a lot of players in the draft on the defensive side of the ball. They also brought in Bradley Chubb. That was a big free agency get for them. They really didn't have like a number one edge rusher the last couple of years when Von Miller had that big season a few seasons ago that really hurt them. Not having that guy. Now, the one guy that could be a home run hit or a big disaster was the signing of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who has won a Super Bowl, he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles a few years ago. He's one of those guys that does not get along really well against the opposition on the field. He's an instigator, a pain in the ass, and some of that actually can rub off on his own teammates, which is why he seems to bounce around from team to team. So that's why it's a risky kind of move. But considering the Bills haven't been able to get over the hump, maybe it's one of those risky moves that is worth giving it a try.
There's
Yeah,
a
they
lot
made
of
a lot of
rolling
they made a lot of additions on defense. In fact, this magazine I'm looking at, they added on the roster guys who played 136 games last year with other teams, and 110 of them as starters. So they added a lot of depth and possibly a couple of starters from that offseason that they had.
Okay, so we'll find out. Bottom line, though, is they do have a new coach who's going to have to make some big decisions in the postseason and big games. McDermott couldn't get it done. Neither could Josh Allen. But we know Josh Allen, even though he's got some warts to his game at times, like we saw in last year's playoff game, making a dumb play at the end of the first half, causing a turnover, 7 points, that kind of deal. The fact is, he's still either the best quarterback in the NFL or one of the top three. He's an awesome player.
It's definitely elite.
Yeah.
Yes, he's up there. Yes, there's no question.
And he's everything to this organization.
And he's getting rewarded with more coming in.
Oh, and so they will be christening their new stadium too. So we're going to see a new stadium this year in Buffalo.
How many games they start off on the road though, right? And then three straight games at home. Okay.
Yeah, so they'll get that prime time.
I don't know if you
game.
showed the article, but the stadium has outrageous ticket prices, and I don't think it'll stop a lot of the fan base, but you'll be probably getting more casual fans who have the money rather than the hardcore fans that don't have the money but find a way to get tickets. I forget what they said the cheapest ticket is, but it's some ridiculous price for the cheapest ticket.
Yeah, it is. I haven't looked at that story, but I've heard things, Andy, and it's a lot of it's not good. It's a typical business deal where it's like those are the fans that helped you in the community, helped you. And what do they get in response? They get higher ticket prices where they can't afford. A lot of these guys couldn't afford to go from the old stadium to the new one.
No,
and that's a shame.
Really? Wow. How much of a jump was it?
Andy, did you see any?
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I just remember that. I'll see if I can. While we're talking, I'll pull up the story here somewhere.
So yeah, it's one of those unfortunate deals, but it just it's what we have to deal with today, unfortunately. And matter of fact, that game is going to be on Prime Video. So if for some reason you don't have Prime Video, I guess you're all out of luck. I mean, I don't know.
I'm wondering, not to kick off another subject here that would be controversial, but that's what I do anyway. But is it possible the NFL and other entities in this country are going to price themselves out of business because, they're just appealing to the elite, and the average citizen's not going to be able to afford anything
That's
anymore.
A good point I was thinking about, because I did find the answer. But, the NFL, these teams get most of their revenue out of those huge TV contracts. So they really don't generate a significant portion of the revenues from the live sales. So what they could do is they could have some sort of restriction that they must have certain minimum prices for a certain number or certain percentage of seats. It's not going to hurt them all that much, because remember, they also get all that concession fees, and I think they'll sell out every game. But to give you the answer, it says regular season home games for the first game, the upper deck seats range from $640 to $700 for that ticket. Lower bowl seats are over $900. Now, I don't know what the regular prices will be, but I believe it's still going to be several $100s for the cheapest seats.
Jesus.
All right, so these are the win totals again for Buffalo. It seems to me, though, I know they got a tough schedule, but I've said before, if you have a really good team, you're going to win games. I just think 10.5 seems awfully low to me for the Buffalo Bills.
When I did that podcast that I do where we went through all the schedules, I came up with 12 wins, Buffalo, including, again, using a half a win, half a loss for a game that I considered a toss-up. Still managed to come up with 12
Basically
wins.
the same thing as last year, correct, Andy?
Yeah.
And
again,
guys...
the schedule's the same as far as the Jets and the Dolphins. Jets and the Dolphins may have improved a little bit, but I'm not sure how much they will have improved to be able to think that they can beat. I still think that those teams have a better chance of beating New England than they do Buffalo, even though New England did have some success last year against Buffalo.
Are you guys going with the over 10.5?
Yes. And possibly,
no, I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I might consider the over 10.5 minus 120 isn't unreasonable. So that might be a 1-unit play, and perhaps I would go with over the 11.5 because we could see. Remember, we've seen last year New England and Buffalo split, but I think inherently Buffalo is still the better, more pedigreed team, and they could end up. I could see them sweeping New England this year. I think New England is due for regression because of the schedule.
The problem, Andy, with that is you're talking about a veteran coach, a veteran offensive coordinator, veteran defensive coordinator against all new with Buffalo. It's all.
Yeah, there is, but there's still something.
We have no idea that they're gonna be able to come out of the box like you want them to.
Well, with Brady there having coached and been the offensive coordinator for a number of years, he and Allen have obviously a very close relationship. They've given him, again, a better receiver than they had last year. The defense may be a little bit more of a concern, but the defense was a concern last year, and they still managed to win 12 games.
Okay, the Miami Dolphins are next, and the Miami Dolphins have a new general manager and a new head coach, both coming over from Green Bay. And this is the very first time in a very long time that I can recall that I actually feel like the Miami Dolphins in the offseason with hirings of this nature might have gotten it right. And now we still have to see, obviously. These guys have never been in these positions before. But I do like the moves. I think it's also a very smart idea to bring in two people who have worked in the same organization and have the same feelings as far as how to run a football team. And so I think there's a lot to like there about the Dolphins. But the fact is, this roster, even though they've added a lot of draft picks that we'll get into, not a whole lot of big free agents. They're not going to do that this offseason. Except for Malik Willis, their quarterback. It's going to be a rebuild, and it's going to take some time.
I agree. You said it exactly. They are positioning themselves for, I think, the future years with getting some draft choices down the road, and also, if you look at the life cycle of NFL teams, you'd have to think that Buffalo is probably in the early stages of a decline, just simply because of all the success that they've had, which now goes back 8-9 years or 7-8 years, whatever it is, after missing the playoffs for like almost 20 years. I think Miami is in a similar, but maybe a year behind situation with the Jets, although the Jets quarterback situation sort of suggests that maybe in that area, Miami may be a little bit ahead. And New England is probably...
Wait, what?
What with what?
Malik Willis is ahead of Geno Smith?
Well, Geno's got some issues. That's what it is. If it's not Geno Smith,
boy, if that happens, Jets are in trouble.
Well, but it's a realistic possibility. We don't know yet.
Well, if he plays like he did last year, yeah.
No, I'm talking about his off the field issues with Geno Smith.
Those are not off the field issues. That's a crazy fucking girl. That's what that
Whatever it is, it's still an issue. And it could result in a suspension.
No, it will not. No, have you ever done any homework on that? That lady is crazy.
Yeah.
She's a nut.
That doesn't mean that that's a good.
Have you heard
prosecution
anything the
won't get
last
him.
week? Nothing.
I've heard
That's
nothing.
because they already know what. No, nothing's going to happen. Nothing.
Okay, we'll see.
Zero.
We'll see.
100%. Zero.
Would you bet on
Actually, the one that's really in trouble is what we'll talk about next week with Terry and Arnold. That's
Well, he's already been
a lot
cut.
of trouble. Yeah, well, that's and it's going to hurt Detroit big time because he was supposed to be the number one corner.
No.
But yeah, I mean, look, that's another reason why the Malik Willis signing was a really smart deal. You bring in a new GM from Green Bay, a new head coach from Green Bay, and a quarterback from Green Bay.
No, well, that's why I'm saying that the Dolphins might be a little bit ahead of the Jets in some areas, even though the Jets have a 1-year head start with the new coaching regime with Aaron Glenn.
Stability-wise, if Geno is stable, and he did not have a good year last year,
No.
You would think the Jets have a little bit of a leg up because of all the new pieces that have to fit
I would
Miami.
agree that Geno Smith has better talent surrounding him than Willis has surrounding him in Miami.
Let's take a look at the win total and the schedule. So Miami is sitting at 4.5 plus 100, under 4.5 minus 120. The three outlier teams that they'll be playing will be San Francisco on the road versus the Bengals at home and at Indianapolis.
Yeah.
and that is, and when we get to the Jets, you're going to see a major difference in the three teams, the three outliers. So
I'd like to see what's the Jets over under on the over and under on the win total.
5.5.
So they got them up a little bit.
What did we say
higher.
Miami was?
4.5. Plus 100, Jets 5.5 minus 120.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's pop up the schedule. Let's see what Miami's doing with that schedule early on. They get first 3 out of 4 on the road, including San Francisco. Chiefs of the first. I mean, that's a really tough way to start because you got 3 out of the first on the road, and then the home games in the first 5 are Cincinnati and Kansas City, and that's and they get an early bye.
There are so few really bad teams, and you have to put Miami and the Jets in the really bad teams. And so almost any one of their early season schedules, unless they're playing other bad teams like a Tennessee or an Arizona or a Cleveland, it's going to be tough to find wins, which I think is part of the reason why they're total for Miami's 4.5 and the Jets are 5.5. And looking at Miami, okay, what's the one game that they could win possibly? Maybe at Vegas to open the season.
Maybe,
and then
Vegas,
I don't see anything until they have their division game at the Jets.
So it's Vegas, Vegas. The Jet games are, and that's it.
Yeah,
they got a tough schedule.
Of all the other teams on their schedule that I might make a case for as my Indianapolis. Yeah, every other team on this schedule is, I think, a better team than Indianapolis, with the exception of the Jets.
This looks to be a bad team with a very. I think the odds makers are right through 4.5, 5.5. It's going to be tough. I mean, I think it's tough for somebody to get this team to get over. The Jets
it's
to
hard.
Get over
it's hard
6.
for me to play an under because there's so much unknown, and maybe the new management and the coaching staff and the development of some of these players. Who knows? Maybe Willis will have an outstanding season with some of the new talent that is with him now on this new team.
Well,
it's difficult to play under 4.5 because 5-12 is a bad season, but still achievable.
Well, Quinn Evers is a backup in Malik's position there, quarterback. And he did look decent in his 3 starts last year. Although he wasn't that impressive to me in college, there's a possibility there that we don't know. We don't know how this is going to work out with Willis. And it's impressive that he's got some of the people with him that was at Green Bay. So that should help. But this is a total rebuild, where the Jets are a little bit more solid. They got most of their people back. The coaching level should improve. Moving for Geno's a big question mark. You don't know. He hasn't had that many great years in the NFL. So there's a real big question mark between these two
Problem I
teams.
have with the under is if you go back, this was a playoff team in 20. They won 9 wins in 2021, didn't make the playoffs. Made the playoffs in 2022 and 2023. Then they dropped to 8 wins in 2024, and even in last year's bad year, they were 7-7. Or, I'm sorry, 7 wins, and in the division they were 3-3, meaning that they had to beat either Buffalo or Miami once, because the other 2 wins I think came against the Jets.
They didn't have the same group of players.
No.
Yeah.
Andy.
I mean, there's no more Bradley Chubb. There's no more Minka Fitzpatrick on defense. There's no more Waddle. Obviously, Tyreek Hill got injured last year. Their receiver situation is the biggest question mark early on, because they're really relying. They got 3 rookie draft picks there. And they also have 2 guys that were like considered number 3 or number 4 receivers on their respective teams, Tolbert and Atwell. And then they got Washington, a 6th rounder that's a decent player, but nothing special. And the offensive line as well. I mean, they got a rookie 1st rounder who should be okay, but he's a rookie. That guard position, the guard that they drafted last year in the 2nd round was a disaster. That's why they drafted another guard. And Proctor can play guard, as you can see there. So yeah, the offensive line is a big question. The wide receivers are a question. They do have a chain though at running back, and we know how good he is. And then on defense, this is really, I think, also going to be a problem. Not sure where a lot of the edge rushing is coming from. They're taking some gambles on players like Josh Uche and David Ajabo, who, when they came into the league, there was a lot of hope. And now they're like basically getting a second chance to see if there's something left there that they could turn into the player that they were supposed to be. I like their everybody loves their 2nd round draft pick, Jacob Rodriguez. He should have a really good career. He should be a very good player for them. And their secondary is just a big mess. There's not a lot there. They are going to be relying on a lot of young players. And so that's probably the worst position, the biggest question position on the entire team outside of the wide receiver position is that secondary.
Yeah.
So.
Problem I have is I can't play the over, but I also can't play the under. Nothing says you have to play a total, on every team or even many teams. The reason I have concerns for the under is that with a first-year coach, and I know you already mentioned, Greg, you like the management that they brought over from Green Bay, is that we might see, and you can almost expect to see, improvement from the team that you see taking the field in September to the team that you see taking the field in December. And if it's a growing team and they show signs of positivity, they may be playing harder in December than, if they're sitting there. And they could be sitting there at 2-12 when they get in there. But I expect to see a team like Miami show improvement during the course of the season, much like we saw Tennessee last year, and certainly New Orleans last year as well. May not be reflected in the win total, but there's always the concern that asking them to go 4-13 or worse is probably the right number. But I can't feel confident playing the under.
I do think 4 wins is the right answer, but I agree with you, Andy, that feeling confident with it no, I'm not going to feel confident with it. The problem, at the end of the season, they could get in games facing teams that don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
They don't try. But if they're not very deep, so if they have to suffer injuries, especially cluster injuries, they're not going to be in position to take advantage of that. So there's just too many guesses that
yeah.
with this team. I see there's more unknown with Miami than there is with the Jets.
Yes,
and there's just that. See, the problem I have is that end of the season schedule is just murderous.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to go to Denver, Chicago, Green Bay, the Chargers, the Bills, the Patriots.
Well, not all of those are road games, but the point is they're all tough.
I wouldn't care if they were all at home.
Opponents, yeah.
I mean, it's just that
usually Miami's home advantage is early in the season when they have the heat in their favor. But no, there's That's you're right. Chicago, Green Bay, Los Angeles Rams,
They're
Buffalo.
not going to beat any of those teams.
No. Well, unless they have nothing to play for,
well,
or have suffered big injuries
turn out to be
themselves.
worse.
Yes.
Or they turn out to be worse than we expect them to be. Remember, all these teams that made the playoffs last year for the great extent, maybe Pittsburgh might be an exception because of the coaching change and all that. But we expect most of the teams that made the playoffs last year to have good seasons this year. Not all, but most. So there probably are going to be some of these teams. There's a decent amount of turnover in playoff teams from year to year. Usually,
isn't that the gamble of it?
No, that's it. That's why what I'm saying is that there may be some of these teams on the list that we think right now are really likely playoff teams that may end up not being playoff teams, and because they're used to being playoff teams, not play their best at the end of the season.
But again, what I'm saying is that's the gamble. You have to gamble whether or not that's going to happen.
I like taking situations with teams that look like they're not going to go anywhere and taking some big prices. But when I look at these prices, they're not good enough.
No,
they're not long enough for me to take a shot.
See, Jim, those are where those alternate lines come in. Where if you think, I'll give you an example. I like Dallas over the 9.5. I like them over the 10.5 at plus 175 because I think that's a team addressed all their basic needs with the defensive help that they added through the draft and in the offseason. I could see Dallas, which had 3 straight 12-5 seasons before they fell back the last couple of years when they didn't. What were they 7-9-1 last year? That's not exactly horrible. It's very, it's below 500, but, in that mediocre range. So I could see playing the alternate lines where I have an opinion where I think this team's going to be more improved than the lines maker is showing. So I feel that way with a team like Dallas, but with a team like Miami, and even to a certain extent with the Jets, because we saw a lot of what they could do last year, and we'll get to them, after we do New England, but I certainly can't feel confident about Miami. And I probably would say the talent is of a team that is more likely to go 4-13 than 5-12, but I can't feel comfortable betting it that way.
Well, in principle, Andy, we're saying the same thing. The only reason, the only thing is I like taking a Dallas, and I do agree with you, Dallas. I think Dallas wins their division. I wasn't with you last week when you analyzed it, but I like Dallas to win their division. But Dallas is loaded with a lot of talent, especially on offense. We saw that last year, and they've improved their defense. But you're looking at a team that has the depth. I'm talking about a Jerry Jones team. People probably think I'm crazy, but I like Dallas, and to take alternate numbers with them I think it's a great idea. And especially if Philadelphia continues to rot from the inside, with some of the issues that they have between the coach and the quarterback and other issues,
and the aging of that team as well,
and the offensive and defensive lines that were so powerful a couple of years ago. I think it's wide open for Dallas. So I think taking alternate numbers, but when you're looking at basically an advanced college team like Miami, I don't see where there's any. I don't want to put my money on it.
Before we switch over to the Patriots, just want to answer Bob Bullock's question. Right now, I remember when I did a show a couple of weeks ago with Jason Sarney from the Dolphins Wire. And it's just an unknown at this point when Chris Bell is going to be available. Really good draft pick, really good player, nice receiver. Is going to have a good career in the NFL as long as the knee isn't an issue. But I would not expect Chris Bell, especially coming off the ACL, to be any way, in shape or form, somebody that is going to help the Dolphins as a rookie.
That's why he dropped in the draft. He tore that ACL in November. So if that normally takes a full year to heal, and if he's ahead of schedule, maybe he gets some playing time in the second half of the season.
Okay, now it's time to talk about the Patriots, the defending AFC East champs, and the big story.
AFC champs.
And what?
Well, and AFC champs, not just AFC East.
Oh, yes. And so the Patriots, of course, the big story this offseason has unfortunately been an off-the-field story with their head coach, who's not talked a whole lot, but he's going to have to talk a lot in a few weeks.
Well, the story's not been in the news lately, but Rossini has been. You heard about her getting stopped by the cop in Tennessee or something or whatever. But the story, I think itself, I have not heard anything on the Vrabel Rossini thing probably in over a month.
Yeah, well,
let me ask you, why should this affect? I mean, this is an off team. It's not a football deal. It's basically a family thing. Why are we so concerned with it?
I think the potential of something occurring during the season. I don't think there's
or
any
some
effect
more bad
right now.
news coming out as these New York
yeah, that's
Post
what I
and
meant.
National
Yeah.
Enquirer start digging things up from 2022 or 2023.
Yeah, so if they and that's exactly what some of these people are going to do. There's no reason to throw this story out there in July. So there might be people who have this information. They're just going to wait. They're going to wait till the regular season begins. They're going to wait until the training camp begins. And so that's why it could be a distraction.
And it's silly to say, but there is some truth to the fact that there's still a lot of, I won't say hate, but dislike of the New England Patriots because of all the success they had for the 20 years leading up to like 2019, 2020. And that if some of these people who have that information really dislike the Patriots, why not wait until the regular season to put that stuff up to cause the greatest distractions? It's silly. It's childish. Yes. But it's also not outside the realm of possibility.
The Patriots win total number is 10.5 plus 115. Under 10.5 minus 140. And that's the one that makes the most sense. Taking a look at their schedule. Now, this is interesting. Take a look at those first 3 games. Because the
first one is a rematch in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, on the
road.
Those first 3 games happen to be their 3 outlier games.
That's very interesting.
They're playing them all in a row at Seattle versus Pittsburgh and at Jacksonville. So that's what New England. So you got New England. So which one do you think is harder, New England or Buffalo's outliers?
What we said? What was Houston?
Buffalo, Houston, the Rams, and the Ravens.
Well, anytime you're playing a decent team on the road, you could have an issue.
Houston,
I mean, that's. Seattle and Jacksonville are not pushovers. I mean, Seattle is the champion.
I would say New England's is tougher simply because of 2 of them are on the road. One of them is at the defending Super Bowl champion, and they're 3 quality teams, although you could downgrade Pittsburgh and they get them at home. So I would say that the 3 toughest teams are the sequence that New England has to play them. Certainly games 1 and 3.
The other thing is, first 4 games, 3 of them are on the road.
Yeah, and the 4th one is Buffalo.
Yeah,
at Buffalo.
They get a nice break after that with back-to-back home games against the Raiders and the Jets. But those first 4 games, those will be tough. You mentioned those 3 road games.
I do like the stability of this club. I mean, I'm going to push aside the Vrabel thing because if something happens, it happens. I can't predict that, and I can't handicap that. But they have solidity at the quarterback situation. They've got coaching positions. He handled a very complicated offense last year, given a lot of freedom in how to handle the calls and call out the plays at the line. He did very well with it. They played. One thing I will say, they did play a very soft schedule. They probably were not the best the best representative of the AFC because of this weak schedule that they played. I thought they should have lost to Houston. I thought they should have lost to Denver in the playoffs. They did get there. They didn't look good, but they have stability with some good pieces. And you look at the weakness of Miami and the Jets now, and then you look at Buffalo and you say, well, Buffalo's got Josh Allen. They got some pieces, but they have a lot of newness in the coaching areas. Everybody's positions are a little bit different. Their responsibilities are a little bit different. I don't know. I can't really downgrade New England.
Well, here's the thing that you hit on the head at the very beginning, Jim, and this is the thing that is the deciding factor for me. And that are 2 things, 2 very big things, and it has nothing to do with the off the field stuff. One, their schedule last year.
Yep.
and 2, and Super Bowl
Will
loser.
Campbell.
No, a Super Bowl loser. We
Oh,
have seen
that doesn't bother
Timon.
me as much as the fundamental problem that
Well,
Will
I mean,
Campbell
it's-
had those issues in the playoffs, and now opposing teams have had an opportunity in the all season to see if they can take advantage of what Seattle and the other playoff teams took against Will Campbell in the offensive line, or if the Patriots are able to make the correction and Campbell plays up to the ability that he was thought to have and probably did have coming out of college.
Yeah, I mean, you draft a guy in the top 10 of the draft. He better be good on his second year, or else you're in trouble. Now, they did use their first-round draft pick on another tackle.
Yeah.
So they have insurance policy. Of course, they would love Will Campbell and Caleb Lomu to be bookends for a very long time, starting next year. But hey, if something happens to Will Campbell and Lomu looks good, then they can always place Lomu over there, and that's something that at least they were proactive. But yeah, I look, it is what it is. History does not lie. Super Bowl losers do not fare well the very next year. So on top of the schedule situation, it's a big major two issues I have. I'm not saying that the Patriots are going to stink. They're going to be a good team, but the fact is that schedule is going to cost them some wins. And so we're talking about the win total. I just feel a little bit more, me personally, I just feel a little bit more comfortable with the Bills, but I agree with you, Jim, that I feel a lot more comfortable with the Patriots and the foundation and the coaching staff than I do with Joe Brady. So, there's a couple of yin and yang there where I can go back and forth.
I have no problem with it.
There's also a yin and yang when you look at the backup quarterback for New England. Tommy DeVito does not inspire confidence.
I thought it was Kyle Allen, who has some NFL experience.
According to what I'm looking at,
thing with New England is, and you talk about the Super Bowl loser, and there's some authorities, there's some obviously history on that, but remember, we're talking now about Super Bowl losers declining. Well, yeah, I would think they're going to decline from 14 wins, but they could still go 12-5 or 11-6 and show that decline and be another check mark in the Super Bowl loser declining the next season. But their total is 10.5, so they could still exceed 10.5. I happen to think the schedule is a significant factor, and I lean right now to under the 10.5, and I probably won't play it because it's minus 140. But keep in mind, the lines makers were very accurate in last year. After back-to-back 4-4 seasons, because of the easy schedule, the Patriots total last year was 8.5, and they beat that by 5.5 games. Well, now, after winning 14 games, the lines makers have said, yeah, we're going to expect a regression, but we're not going to expect a 2 or 3 game regression. We're going to say 3.5. We're going to go down to 10.5. So that's reflected into the lines maker.
And Andy, that's
right last year.
10.5 at plus 115.
Yeah, and they're still
you have to almost play that.
Well, the VIG is on the minus 140, so they're showing that the regression is. The reason why I can't lean to it, why it's only a lean here, is that I don't like the schedule this year, especially the sequencing of the schedule. And by the way, they were 5-1 against the division last year. I could see them going 4-2 this year. I don't know that they could, have the same success. I think they swept Miami.
Well, even though they start off very tough.
Yeah,
they're none of those games in the beginning are division games.
No.
So
well, then game four is.
Yes. So, but when you get there, you've already played 3 pretty tough teams. Pittsburgh, say what you want about Pittsburgh, but now they know a lot about them to make adjustments, and that's where the coaching staff comes in and say, if you haven't suffered any big injuries, those coaches can make adjustments. Yeah. There's give and take to the whole analysis here.
Yeah. Well, the big additions that they made to the roster was, of course, A.J. Brown coming in. They also added Dubs, the receiver from Green Bay. So their wide receiver room. Now, they did have Diggs last year, who was a big part of the room. So I don't really look at it as I look at definitely A.J. Brown as a big improvement on Stephon Diggs. I don't think there's any question about that. And they're going to really need some of these younger players. I mean, Kayshon Boutte did a really good job last year. Kyle Williams, they're hoping he'll make a move in year 2. They still have hope on Demario Douglas. So that's a wide receiver room is going to be better. And they added a 3rd-round draft pick at tight end to back up Hunter Henry. And you would expect Travion Henderson, who made some big plays last year as a rookie at running back, will be able to take another step. So the running game should be fine. But yeah, the offensive line, I would definitely still say, sort of like what Andy said, you got to see if Will Campbell's going to take that next step. And also they gave Elijah Vera Tucker a nice contract, and the Jets were like, well, good, you take him, because this is a player that's a very good player that just could never stay healthy for the Jets. Now, of course, he's going to go ahead and stay healthy for the Patriots. Jet fans already know that's going to happen. But that is something that you have to keep in mind, that they, made a big investment on Vera Tucker, and the guy's got to stay healthy. And then they also have a new center, Jared Wilson, who will take over long-term at the end, good young player, 3rd-round draft pick from last year. So there are some questions along that offensive line. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Defensively, this is really where they took a big step last year, because they made some, big hay in free agency. This year they added a couple more free agents, Draymond Jones and Kevin Byard. They have a really good corner tandem in Christian Gonzalez and Carlton Davis. Keep in mind, Carlton Davis was a player who also had injuries in the past, but hey, he stayed healthy for the Patriots last year. So we'll see if he can stay healthy again. Harold Landry, that was a big injury for the Patriots last year. He got injured early, week 6, and really he returned a little bit, did not play well. And so he's getting older. He's going to have to prove that he can still be an effective edge rusher, because that's the one department when I look at this team. And Gabe Jackas, I'm not sure if he's already signed yet, but he was like one of the lone last remaining rookies to not sign. And I also think he's banged up a little bit. So, and that was a 2nd-round edge rusher, because they know they needed more edge rush help. That's why they signed Draymond Jones. So I'd still keep an eye on the edge rusher department for the Patriots as a big question, as well as the offensive line. So, okay,
they did not fare well sacks. Offensively, they were number 23 in the league, and recording sacks, they were tied for 22nd in the league. So they needed to help along the offensive line, which they did. And I've got to believe that Campbell will be a better player for the majority of the season this year. And as you point out, the issues on the defensive side is getting to the other quarterback. And yet, despite with all those issues about the quarterback sacks and everything on both sides, they still made it to the Super Bowl.
Well, we're focused on that schedule. We're focused totally on the division here, and the rest of the NFC or AFC, excuse me, is an important look, because there's a lot of improvement around the league in some of the AFC divisions, and that doesn't directly affect these guys, but it does affect them as far as getting to the playoffs and doing anything in the playoffs. But because there's question marks on both teams, the top 2 teams here, but the solidity that you have with the Patriots versus the talent of Josh Allen being around a long time. Now, the other question about Josh Allen is, has his window closed?
No,
he didn't look all that good in that Denver game. He made some very boneheaded mistakes.
That's one game.
Yeah, no, he's
if it's 4 or 5 games where he had trouble, then I would say yes. But I still think he's at the top of his game. I want to see right now how old he is. I think he's 30, maybe.
Yeah, he hasn't shown any signs. He's in the prime of his career.
He's a hell of a player when he was right. That's for sure.
Yep. And again, I think some of that has to do with coaching, but also most importantly, personnel. They've done a lousy job helping him at the receiver department. It puts him in a position where he feels he's got to do everything when in the passing game with his legs. So he's out there, he's looking for the receivers. Maybe he's not finding them. I got to run the ball. I got to try something. and that's their fault.
I've never been a big fan of Sean McDermott, and I thought that if Josh Allen had better coaching, he'd have done a lot more in his career.
Well, you also have to look at Brandon Beane. I mean, he's the one that failed to properly provide those wide receivers, and a lot of Bills fans were very surprised that he did not get fired.
Right, exactly.
They were like, "Why is Beane here?" I mean, McDermott, sure, you want to blame him, fine, but blame Beane too.
That's probably political.
Could be.
Yeah, I mean, remember that the players play, and they're going to have ups and downs and everything in any game. But it's the GM people who put the players on the field for McDermott and the others to coach. Coaches can only do so much. Players still have to execute.
So now that's why the DJ.
By the
Moore
way,
trade,
Josh Allen turned 30 back in May.
Yeah, he's fine. So that's why the DJ Moore trade is going to be real important, and we'll find out. And the problem too is the Bills are up against the cap. And they have, if you take a look at it, they probably have more players right now that are still free agents than any other team in the NFL.
What's the story with Matt Milano?
Nothing. He's a free agent. That's it.
Oh, okay. I'm saying that he hasn't, because I know that Buffalo wants to have him back, but I don't know that they're
they're going to be able to afford him. That's the problem. Yeah. And then you've got Daquan Jones, you've got Bosa, you got three guys in the secondary.
Did Bosa say he's going to retire? Bosa.
Oh,
I thought I heard something about that the other day.
I don't know. But yeah, it's not like he's been a star. They needed the old Bosa and
the brother.
He doesn't even play. I mean, he can't play a full season anymore anyway. So, okay. So you guys skipping on the totals here?
No, I'm going to bet over the New England total at plus 115.
Over 10.5 plus 115.
I'm leaning under, but I'm likely not going to play it. On the under. Yeah, I'm not going to play it.
And after looking
because I do have New England as a 10-7 team this year, but I'm not going to lay it on
after looking at Miami and Jets in this conversation, I'm going to take Buffalo over their win total also.
We haven't even looked at the Jets
minus
yet.
120.
What are you doing? Buffalo
over their win total minus 120, over 10.5 minus 120.
Yeah. Minus 120.
I don't think either one should be. I don't think Buffalo should be the favorite in that, but it's okay. Whatever it is, it is.
Yeah, 10 wins is just so low. Such a low number for a talented.
And when you
team.
got
you consider what Buffalo's done the last 6-7 years, I think they've gone over 10.5 and 8 or 9
the other thing
seasons.
is you got two bottom feeders in Miami and the Jets, and this. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that.
Yeah, but Buffalo's gone like double-digit wins for like 6 or 7 seasons, and all it did was get the coach fired.
That's because they never got to the promised land.
Exactly.
Okay, and then we'll round out the division.
See, they got spoiled because they don't remember the 20 years where they went, or 18, 19 years. They went without a playoff spot.
Oh, my God, they were bad. Yeah.
All right, so now we'll wrap it up with the Jets, and let's take a look at their win total is sitting at 5.5 minus 120. Let's pop on their schedule. Where is the schedule? Here it is. Again, the 3 outlier teams for the Jets are going to be at Tennessee versus Cleveland and at Arizona. So they get
much easier than the Dolphins.
Extremely easy.
Yeah.
So
I think I have all those as wins.
So again,
you're probably right.
And also,
I'd say the Jets have to be, if 5.5, you'd probably have to play it over.
And then here's the rest of the schedule. Of course,
it seems a little weak.
The
only concern is the Tennessee game, because I do like what Tennessee did as far as the coach and the offensive coordinator, and that's the opening game of the season.
Honestly, I think those opening games. I think those opening games, as we even saw last year with the Patriots and the Raiders.
Yeah.
I mean, those opening games just don't even really mean anything. It's which is why you're right. It should be a problem because crazy stuff happens week one
Well,
in the NFL.
the distinction here between the Raiders and New England last year, because New England was expected to be a good team, is here both the Jets and Tennessee are expected to be weak teams, and they're playing each other. So if they're being objective and looking at their schedules, Tennessee's management is saying, yeah, this is a very winnable game for us at home. And the Jets, yeah, this is a very winnable game for us, just basically because it's on the road. Because then you would take a look at the rest of the teams that they play, where there's a huge gap, and in these teams that are expected to win 10, 11 games.
Okay, so the big difference for the Jets this year than last year, again, Aaron Glenn is going to take over as the defensive coordinator, something he probably should have done in his first year.
Yes.
And so he learned from his mistake there. And
what did he think about the Sauce Gardner trade and the other trade, the defensive lineman? Was Glenn in favor of that, or?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are absolutely on the same page with everything. So if you look at it, now Glenn takes over as defensive coordinator, and then a big move also at offensive coordinator with Frank Reich. So they had inexperienced offensive coordinator, and they had a bad defensive coordinator, and now Glenn takes over. And on the offensive side, they get an experienced Frank Reich as the OC. And then, look, the thing with Geno is that, remember, he's not 40 years old. He's about 35. He still can throw the football. He can still play in the league. Last year, it's like a horse race. I don't know if I know you've wagered on horse racing, and like John Hardoon and I we do the horse racing show every Thursday on Proline TV, and we'll look at a form and we'll go, okay, there's like 7 races, and we'll see one race where a horse just is terrible, and we always say you could always draw a line through that race, just an outlier. And the same thing in college football and in the NFL. You take it a schedule, a season. Oh, they just terrible week. Just draw a line through it. Well, you can draw a line through Geno Smith's season last season, because that was a terribly run situation with the Raiders.
One of the worst offensive lines in NFL history.
Yeah, Pete Carroll was that was just a terrible move. And so, and then you got to also consider what the Jets quarterback situation has been the last several years. Okay, they had 1 year of Aaron Rodgers, and even that 1 year, he was just okay. But other than that, they've had such bad quarterback play for a long time that Geno Smith is going to look like a savior to them.
Yeah.
All he has to do is throw the ball for an average number of yards and touchdown passes, and they're going to seem like they've got a Pro Bowl quarterback. And that's going to be a big deal for the offense, because Breece Hall just signed his new deal. So, they've got one of the better running backs in the league. Garrett Wilson's back. Keep in mind that he missed half the season last season with the injury. They spent their 2 first-round draft picks on a tight end and a wide receiver. So very high on both of those players. Adonai Mitchell, the receiver that the Jets received in the trade for Sauce Gardner, he was a good player coming out of college, did not get off to a good start with the Colts, comes to the Jets, and they absolutely feel that he's going to have a really good season this season, now that they've had time to work with him. So this offense and the offensive line is solid. It's solid. They've got good players along the offensive line. They've got good young bookends. It's the best offensive line the Jets have had in a long time. So the offense should be fine. The offense should score points. They should be able to throw the ball and run the ball. The question is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. And this is how Jets are going to either win or lose games this year, I think.
It's basically a rebuilding defense.
And in parts, some of that is good and some of that is bad, because you've lost 2 major superstar players. But when you get David Bailey as one of the top picks in the draft, and this kid's just going to be a sack machine. He's a cinch top player. This kid's going to be awesome. Now, how quickly will he be awesome? That's to be determined. They also made that trade with Tennessee to bring in Tavondre Sweat, the big 350-pound nose tackle who's got loads of potential. And
I like
as the Jets now switch. Who's that?
Fitzpatrick with his leadership and experience.
Yeah. So they get sweat because they're going to a 3-4. And then as Andy said, now they bring in two leaders in the back end, Demario Davis at linebacker and Minka Fitzpatrick at safety. And Demario Davis has been one of the best locker room leaders in the entire league for a long time. He loves the fact he's back with the Jets, his third stint. And then you throw in Fitzpatrick, who's actually a New Jersey kid.
Yep.
So he's back home. So he's happy to be there. So there's a lot. Oh, and the kid that they drafted in the second round, D'Angelo Pons, this kid's going to be really good. This kid was the MVP of 2 playoff games for the Indiana Hoosiers last year on their way to a national championship. He's a little small, which is the reason why he wasn't a first-round pick, but the kid's a stud. So their defense has talent, and it's just a matter, though, as it is with a lot of teams that have turnover, it's a matter of gelling and all that other stuff. Yeah. But I believe that it's not going to be a terrible defense. I think the defense will be improved. I think if they can get to somewhere between 15th and 20th, I think that'll be fine. Because again, I think the offense, as we talked about, should be good as long as Geno Smith's doing his job.
And Geno turns 36 the day before they host Cleveland this year. So he's probably got a couple of productive years ahead of him.
Let's see. So again, as far as the schedule is concerned, as far as the way the Jets will kick off the season, they do have to play 3 tough games right after that, an opening road game, because they got to play 3 NFC North teams in a row. They got to play the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears.
2 on the road.
2 on the road.
Wow.
Which are the two toughest of the 4 in that division.
And then they've got
which is good, by the way, because playing at home against Green Bay and Minnesota makes those games more winnable at home than playing Detroit and Chicago at home would make them not as easily winnable for the Jets.
They get a little bit of
schedule.
They get a little bit of a break after that, where even though they got to go to New England, they get Cleveland, Miami, and Las Vegas in a 3 out of 4 weeks, stretch. Yeah.
And so, again, and Cleveland, Miami, and Vegas, I believe, are all at home. And New England is the one game on the road that you'd expect them to lose. So they could certainly beat a Cleveland, Miami, and Las Vegas 3 straight home games.
And no primetime games. Jet fans are happy about that.
Why? That's when they make some of their greatest comebacks.
And then look at all these 1 o'clock games. All 1 o'clock games. So they're happy about that. The only 4 o'clock games they're playing are the 2 West Coast games. That's it.
Yeah, at the Chargers and
Arizona.
At Arizona. And Arizona's a winnable game.
Okay.
So
Arizona's
a mess. Yeah. Yep.
All right. So again, the Jets are over 5.5 minus 120. What are you guys going to do here?
For me, that's a lean on the over minus 120. 6 and 11 would be certainly an improvement, but they have the talent, as you pointed out, as you just went through, and the schedule presents a lot of those opportunities. So I could certainly see the Jets going 6 and 11, 7 and 10, but I can't feel overly confident because you're asking for a lot of the expected improvement to actually occur.
Heaven forbid they lose their first 4 games. We'll be sitting there 0-4.
Yeah,
having to win 6 of the next 13.
Well, I think they can beat both Tennessee on the road and Green Bay at home. It's the Detroit-Chicago games, and then they run into the 3 of the 4 favorable games when they host Cleveland, Miami, and Las Vegas with a trip to New England in there. So if they can start 2-0, okay, with the wins of the first 4 games that are reasonable, home to Green Bay after going to Tennessee, okay, they lose at Chicago and Detroit. So they're 2-2 with a chance of being 5-3 halfway through the season, or almost halfway through the season.
The thing is, Andy, you said before, you thought you were impressed with what Tennessee did. Now they're going to be hosting a home game against this club.
It's true, and that's still why it's part of the reason why it is a lean. But there's also a possibility that if the Jets are as good as we expect them to be, or a lot of us expect them to be, they could be able to pull one of those late season upsets. Against one of those teams that may not be as good. Maybe Minnesota's eliminated when the Jets host them, and if they're looking for almost a 500 record, they'll be playing. And who knows, at Buffalo at the end of the year, Buffalo may be resting everybody because they're even if they win the division, they could be one of the wild cards because only the number 1 seed gets the wild card weekend off. So the Jets, I think, have a chance to reflect the improvement in their win record. But like I say, it's just a lean on the over.
I think the odds makers put up a good number. I think 5 wins is probably the right number. I don't know what else. I don't know what to say about it.
Now, my concern is and then, obviously Greg does not have a concern, but my concern would be what happens if there are some issues, even if it's just a 2 or 3 game suspension, if anything, for Geno, and they have to go to a Klubnik, the rookie, or Brady Chase, which you want to avoid at all possible costs.
Brady Cook.
Yeah, Brady Cook.
Yeah,
won't be
Brady
the
Cook.
guy. Yeah, that's for sure.
Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi will probably be the guy. But yeah, they're actually really happy what they've seen so far from Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that before last year, Cade Klubnik went into the 2025 season as a potential first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
And then Clemson just had an awful season. And he actually got injured too. Klubnik did. A couple of injuries that hurt him, but he, hung in there and played. But everybody was awful on Clemson, and so he ended up a 4th-round draft pick. And I think the Jets were very fortunate to get him. So now we'll see if he can get out there and play, because it would be good if he could play, because next year's draft class, any franchise that doesn't have a quarterback that they can look to for the next 10 years is going to be drafting a quarterback early. And I think it's important that the Jets find out whether or not Cade Klubnik can be that guy, or whether or not they have to dive into the draft and use up one of their top picks on a quarterback. Yeah. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Klubnik seemed to be, based on what you said from his last year, was drafted, I think, appropriately where he should have been. Maybe he could have gone a little bit higher because of what he did previously at Clemson. And again, the whole Clemson team season fell apart. But I thought that was a good draft choice where they got him.
Okay, so let's rank the 4. Okay, so who wants to start?
I'll take it.
Okay, Jim, rank the 4.
I like the Patriots to win the division. I like Buffalo second, and I think both of them make the playoffs. And then I like the Jets and Miami.
Okay, Andy.
And I'm going to go with Buffalo to reclaim its top spot in the division over New England. New England, I think, is borderline playoff this year, because I could see them at just 10 wins. But I'm not quite sure on that. I'm not going to play it because it's just a lean there. And then I think, again, we've sort of talked about it throughout the discussion. I think the Jets are further along in their quote-unquote rebuild, although technically, since they haven't been up anywhere, it's really a building situation. Miami is more in a rebuilding situation, but I think the Jets are about a year ahead. So I've got Buffalo, New England, Jets, Miami.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Andy. Same thing. Okay. And again, just to make sure I've got your overs or unders here, we're all going with Buffalo over 10.5 minus 120.
Yes.
And I've got a half a unit on the over 11.5 at, I forget what the plus was, 145 or something like that.
So you want that as an official pick?
Yeah, it's a half unit.
All right. Let's see. Just make sure we got it. Here we go. 11.5 plus 154.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 154.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Okay.
I said plus 145. I'll take the 154.
I was
dyslexic with the 45.
Okay,
and 54.
That's possible too. All right. And then are you the only one, Jim, that's doing Patriots over 10.5 plus 115?
Yes.
Okay. Andy, you don't have anything with Miami or New England?
Yes. I'm leaning New England under the 10.5 at the minus 140, but that's just for people who want an opinion that I have at least some sort of feel for. I have none on the Jets, though. I do lean. No, I'm sorry. I do lean on the Jets over the 5.5. It's probably a stronger lean than the lean on the New England under.
Okay, so you're going to go under 10.5, even though it's minus 140.
Yeah, well, that's why I would specify it as a lean.
Okay.
It should be shown that way, as opposed to the Buffalo one, where those are plays. One is a full unit, one's a half unit, and no play on Miami.
And you said you're going with the Jets over 5.5 minus 120?
Yeah, again, just a lean.
Okay. And
Because again, a lot of people who let's say are Jet fans want to have an opinion, even if I don't like it. I'm saying, yeah, if I had to do it, I'd go the over. Same thing with the New England fans. I do lean to the under. So I think the Jet fans will like me more than the New England fans because I'm going one way with the over, one way with the under. But again, they're both leans. So meaning a lean usually means I'm not going to be playing it. But if I had to make a play, which I don't, that would be the way I would go. That's a lean for me.
Okay. There you see the AFC East division numbers. Buffalo minus 125, New England at plus 120. I don't think we have – that might be the tightest in the entire league. Let's see.
Yeah, even more so than the NFC West, I would think.
Let's see if anybody has a better number than the Patriots.
How about the NFC North? Let's see. Go back up. Did you see the NFC North there?
No, it's close to plus 120.
Okay, yeah.
So plus 120 for the Patriots is the best by a long margin. I think the Bengals might be second best at plus 194. Let's see. The Bengals Chargers are plus 190.
What's the Dallas?
Second best.
Oh, Dallas is a little over 200.
Okay, and then Jets 19 and Miami 40, and then the Super Bowl numbers. Let's get those out. Buffalo, the second choice at 10-1. Patriots are tied for the fifth choice at 16-1. So you guys going to do any division?
I can't bet any of those. Well, in the division for the AFC East, I think the price on New England is a little too short for me to get interested because of the expected. And again, doesn't mean it's going to occur.
Well, you picked Buffalo to win the division.
Yeah, and I think that but I mean, if New England were 18-1 or something to win the division, that might be worth a play. Okay, because I don't think they drop off that much. But minus 120 suggests 12 or 13 wins. Okay, Buffalo at minus 120. I would pick them, but I don't think I'm going to play them at minus 120. But for sake of making a selection on a division where I think the winning price is reasonable, I'll go with a play on Buffalo because I do have them winning the division, and I do expect them to have a wider margin in wins than New England. So let's put me down Buffalo to win the division at minus 120 as a play.
And I'll take New England.
Oh,
let's look at the conference. What are the odds for the conference? The AFC.
All right, hold on. So, Andy, you're going in on Buffalo to win the division at minus 125. And Jim, you're going with the Patriots to win the division at plus 120. So pretty much even numbers to win the division. That surprises me, considering that the second team in the division is as competitive as they are. So that's a gutsy move by both of you. Let's go ahead and take a look at
what's Jim's plus is what? Plus 125? Plus 120. 120.
So let's take a look at the conference.
I just think that's a little bit too low.
Bills are 5 and the Patriots are 760. What do you think about those?
I'll go down a little bit.
Yeah, looking at the top, who's the favorite in the conference?
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Okay.
That to me, that's a joke. That's
I kind of like Buffalo at plus 510 because I like them for the Super Bowl, but not at 10-1.
Patriots, Chargers, Texans.
Yeah. Where are the Chiefs?
Fourth choice.
Oh, plus 770. It's really tough in the AFC because you can make the case for 6 or 7 teams. Where's Cincinnati?
Well, they're 10-1.
That's a play for me.
Me too.
Don't you guys? You don't already have that?
We're looking at there's 7 clubs here we got to look at.
No, right? I mean we did the North already. So let me see if you already did those.
But it's nice to look at
we may not have
picture.
talked about division odds. Let me see here.
All right, let's see.
Well, you know what? We're going to be doing it again. Our official picks are going to be coming when we do the
Yeah,
season
Andy,
preview.
you've got the
1, 2, 3, 4.
Bengals division 2-1 and the Super Bowl at 20-1.
Yeah. So I'll add the conference.
Jim, you've got the division 2-1 and the Super Bowl at 20-1.
For who?
The Bengals.
Cincinnati.
Okay.
So do you guys want to add the AFC?
I will add the AFC. What's it, plus 1025? Yeah.
Okay.
That's about half the Super Bowl odds, even though I think it'll be more competitive to win the AFC than the NFC, although because you got 3 or 4 really good teams in the NFC, and I think you got 5 or 6.
I don't know. Just imagine if Joe Burrow and the Bengals get to the Super Bowl, I ain't thinking they're losing. Unless it's the Rams. That would be the only team I could see beating the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Because if they get there, they're going to be really good.
I think the AFC's. I think the AFC's a lot improved. And I'm going to tell you something. My sleeper to win the Super Bowl is Houston.
I can see that. Yeah.
If their defense stays similar, and they get the play out of the offense, I don't see anybody beating them.
I'll tell you, Greg, why I agree with you on Cincinnati.
I like Cincinnati a lot.
If Cincinnati makes it to the Super Bowl, you have to believe that defense is going to be, at worst, a middle of the pack.
And then you get to have Joe Burrow as your quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, which he's when he's playing.
Cincinnati's my version of the Dallas Cowboys.
Drop it down a little bit. So let me see the Jags and what else we got here.
15-1 on the Jags.
Okay, with the Colts, we got the Texans.
Yeah, you guys don't have anything, any
Conference?
championship or Super Bowl picks from the AFC South. Just so you know.
The only team I'm going to say
again?
from the South, it's going to be if Houston. I think could beat anybody in football if that if that defense is right.
Yeah, and if they get to the Super Bowl, then C.J. Stroud has more than likely fixed his problems.
Or they've replaced them in the backup. Well.
Yeah.
Or the defense is even better than it's been the last 2 years.
I want to tell you something. That defense last year was primo, and that they screwed up. The coach screwed up. The quarterback screwed up. They should have been in the Super Bowl.
Maybe Davis Mills would be another Jeff Rutledge.
Well, Davis Mills should have been in that game against New England.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to do anything here in the South before we move on? Because you could still, remember, we got 2 more weeks of this. Actually, Jim, when are you going to be going away?
I will not be on the show next week. And I hope
just 1 week?
Be back 1 week.
Yeah, that's
okay. So you're going to be back before the 17th.
Yeah, and I'll be able, unless something radically changes, I'll be on the show on the 17th.
Okay. So by that time, when we conclude everything with the AFC West, you guys still have time at that point to make your final picks. And then again, like Andy said, we'll have final picks at the end of August.
So these are our semifinal picks now.
Yeah, and don't forget, that's going to be over on ProLine TV. This is the opportunity here for the Arled's Football Network and ProLine TV to get together, partner on the shows. You could check out either channel to watch these shows, and we got 2 more to go on these next 2 Fridays. Andy will be with me next week for the NFC North. Do you have anything to say on the NFC North since you won't be here, Jim?
NFC North. Let me take a look.
Chicago, Detroit, Green Bay, Minnesota.
Well, I told you last week. I told you Dallas is going to win their division.
So let's see.
Yeah, that was. I know you know. I don't. You probably.
Let's see here. So let's just.
NFC
okay.
North.
So Dallas at 235. That was your. You want that pick?
Yes.
I think I took that one also for the division.
Dallas 235. Jim. East. Okay.
And you should already have me down for that one.
Oh yeah, I've got all your picks.
Now you said NFC North. Yeah, let me take a look right now.
NFC North. The Lions are the favorite over the Packers. The Bears.
This is not an easy division.
No. It's the toughest division in football.
Well, so is the NFC West.
We have. We,
100%. to a certain
we,
extent.
we have a lot of. You start with Minnesota. 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 You start with Minnesota. big question mark with the quarterback. J.J. McCarthy was a bust. He will never be an NFL quarterback successfully. But now
I'll wager a buck on you with that.
you can wager any amount you want. He'll never be
Okay.
a starting quarterback in the NFL unless
Man,
he's
that's a long time.
They break all the legs of everybody else.
Okay. Very nice.
So in other words, in order for Greg to win this bet, he just has to start one game.
No, I'm willing to give Jim. I'm willing to tell.
How about we make it? Which of the two starts more of the 17 games?
Which of the two? Who?
Between McCarthy and McCarthy and Murray.
Oh, he didn't rip Murray.
I'd take Murray any day.
Oh, I don't think. No, I'm not. Anything can happen this year. He's saying JJ.
Okay, so you're saying J.J. McCarthy will never.
McCarthy's never going to start in his entire career.
No,
I'm not saying, and I'm not even saying to start. I'm willing to give Jim an entire year.
He's going to be a backup quarterback, and there's always a chance for a backup quarterback to play. I mean, that's
so he will never be QB1, other than in the case if he's starting because QB1 is
exactly.
Injured.
And Jim will be wrong, and I will be right, and we just have to wait a few years for that to happen. That's all.
Now we're talking NFL only, not CFL, correct?
I'm going to go Detroit Lions to win this division.
Wow. Again, don't forget, no Terrion Arnold, so that secondary is in trouble. That's going to be something they're going to have to fix. I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit made a trade or something like that, because that was a big blow to them.
Well, they got plenty of time to do it.
So, wow, Detroit, the favorite at plus 180.
Or there could be free agent releases from other teams.
Well, if they're a free agent release, they ain't going to be a number one corner, that's for sure. So, and Detroit, remember, they also have to find another edge rusher. They just got to find one. And they did draft a kid in the first round. And so that's, was it a second round draft pick? Excuse me. And so they really have to hit on that guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if they added another older edge rusher in free agency but before the year began. You know, there's some old guys out there that are just waiting to be picked up after training camp. But yeah, that defense, I
don't like to give out plays without being honest. This is not a bet I would make, because I really think this division is so difficult to call. If Murray clicks with Minnesota, they're really live, because they
probably have the best defense in the conference in the division.
I'm sorry, Andy.
They probably have the best defense in the division.
Yeah. Who do
see,
you like, Andy? In there?
Well, we're going to be talking about it next week, but I think Chicago's being disrespected.
I am leaning. It's right now. I'm undecided between Detroit and Chicago. I like them both.
Okay.
I'll decide by next week.
And Green Bay has done absolutely nothing this entire offseason. So there's a lot of questions
except lose their management team.
So there's a lot of questions there with the Packers, and you would expect the Vikings. I mean, if Kyler Murray winds up looking like, and he got Kevin O'Connell getting him up to speed, and we know how good Kevin.
Well, look what he did with Sam Darnold.
So
this Minnesota Vikings team is a solid club if they get the right kind of quarterbacking. They can go a long way. They're very dangerous.
They're pretty good. To get the Vikings at 5-1 is probably not bad
for the division.
True. That might be worth
for the division or the Bears. I think
maybe I could put a unit on the Vikings.
Well, you just said I wouldn't really pick the Lions, so I'm not going to put you down.
See, the problem is there's no value on the Lions. Okay,
you're right.
There is value with the Vikings, but there's no value with the Lions. I like the Lions better, but there's no value with them.
Yeah.
The Vikings last year in total defense were third in the NFL. Passing defense number 2, rushing was 21. So rushing defense was a weakness. They did excellent in sacks, and as far as that goes, and turnover differential, not very good, and yet the defense still kept them in games.
There's no value with anybody in this division except the Vikings.
I think Chicago has a lot of value. because of what they did last year, and the Ben Johnson, what he did. He's now got a year better, and he's had to make some personnel changes. And I think they were better than the 11-6 because they had a couple of losses at the end of the year when they were in contention, and they were an inexperienced team being in pressure to win situations, and they still.
That you're right. Because
the
first year with the coach and the quarterback. I mean, they could have a big upside. You don't know. It's tough. This is a tough division. Yeah. Very tough division.
Well, the thing with the Bears too is we have to keep in mind or remember all of those freaky wins they had last year.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen again. But,
yeah, right.
But I don't think they're going to need
No, they may be more legitimate wins this year than last year. Because if they're a better team, they won't struggle to win 27-24. They'll win 34-24.
But they also have a first place schedule now.
Yeah.
So they're going to be playing a much tougher schedule. And that'll even things out a little bit too.
What's their season win total?
There is a lot of upside with the Bears.
The Bears like 9.5.
That
maybe?
head coach, with that head coach and that quarterback, there's a huge upside. Yeah. But I think DraftKings is robbing you on the prices in this damn division. I really do.
Well, that's why you should definitely use multiple sports books.
9.5 is the number.
Yeah, that's like really low.
Yeah.
I mean, to think that the Bears can't win 10 games in their second year of the system.
Without Jim, we'll talk about them next week. But yeah,
that's just.
Well, what they shave it because the other three teams in their division are so tough.
Yeah.
And we all know what's going to happen. There's going to be one of those teams. Something bad will happen.
They'll be the Detroit of last year, and maybe it's Green Bay.
Someone's going to have to deal with injuries.
This Green Bay didn't do much and to improve themselves. Yeah.
Well, Green Bay had those big injuries last year. That's what killed them. But
they also didn't they have the best backup quarterback in the.
Willis,
division?
He's gone.
Yeah, remember they didn't have Micah Parsons, so that's like a monster player for them.
But I think they only missed 3 games. Someone said Parsons.
Well, he didn't play at the end of the year when they needed him.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind Tucker Kraft, who was such a big part of their offense.
They also didn't have him in training camp last year, where you get a lot of stuff done. They'll have him this year.
Yeah, well, those are all pluses. That's why the Packers, they're you got to give them a little bit of a break because they should be better, but they didn't improve themselves though as far as the offseason in free agency or the draft.
Yeah. And the loss of Willis, I think, is huge if Love goes down or is ineffective.
All right, so we're going to talk about the NFC North next week. Jim won't be here. Jim will be back when we wrap it up for the AFC West in a couple of weeks. Again, I've got Jim down for last week's show, the Dallas Cowboys at plus 235 to win the East. And if you want to check out all our other picks, including Andy's from last week's show, you can check it out. It's in the library here, both at ProLine TV and the Ourlads Football Network. And that is going to wrap it up, gentlemen. So appreciate your time as always. And
a pleasure.
Go USA in the World Cup.
Oh, that's exciting. There's some of these.
That's Sunday or Monday?
I don't understand. I don't understand the rules in this game. I mean, I don't understand these offsides, and I'm really
they're
confused.
Excruciating.
Yes, it is. I don't get it. I guess I got to learn, but fortunately,
no, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I won't see them again for 4 years. So what am I going to say? I won't.
Well, the fact that it's not in the U.S. in 4 years, that'll be a big difference in the amount of hysteria that we're dealing with. Especially, I don't know where it is in 4 years. I don't know. It's probably going to be at a time zone anyway. That'll be different, much different.
Maybe it'll be in Iran.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Speak for about another 30 seconds or so, and I'll tell you where it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
And then they're when are they playing again?
2030.
No. When are they playing again? The U.S.
Oh, the USA. Yeah.
What's their next?
It's either Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, Monday. I think Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be their first big test.
The 2030 FIFA World Cup is a historic centenary 100-year. It's the 100th anniversary. That'll be uniquely co-hosted across 6 nations in 3 continents: Europe, Africa, and you would think Asia, but no. Europe, Africa, and South America.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like
It will feature an extended 44-day schedule to accommodate global travel.
jeez.
Wow.
That's a lot of travel for a World Cup.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder if they're going to, because of that, I wonder if they're going to keep all the South American teams at home so they don't have to go back to Europe, but some of the European teams will have to go to South America.
you know, Andy, I was thinking about that the other day too. I lost sleep on that.
Yeah. You were the one, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get through let's get through 2026 first.
All right. Yeah. Let's just hope they keep winning so we'll actually care. So
Well, look, it's a long boat ride because who knows what plane maintenance is going to be by then. So could be an
God only
you
knows.
got planes hovering over the New Jersey Turnpike by 100 feet or something now.
Oh boy.
all right, guys. Jim,
care.
we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Best
hope
of luck.
all goes
Appreciate it.
well.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And,
That's why we'll
will
see him
be
in a couple of
touch.
weeks.
And
Thank you.
Greg, I will see you next Friday.
Yes.
Thank you both.
Thanks,
Jim.
Thanks,
Best
Jim.
of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
And I'll
everything.
see everybody here on ProLine TV tomorrow night for NASCAR coverage. Should be about 9:00. We'll take a look at the qualifying and practice reports from Chicagoland. And then don't forget also Jim Feist and Andy Iskoe will return in several weeks on the Jim Feist handicapping show. Which
I
is
think that
usually-
would be Tuesday the 21st, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, because 22nd is a Wednesday. Yes.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be good. And then
So you're gonna-
Andy, we're gonna have to really dig into. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Kind of free flow. Okay.
That'll be after the All-Star game, right?
That'll be right after the World Cup finale in MetLife, which I think is the 19th.
And the world's. I mean, All-Star game's on the 13th.
Yeah,
I think.
So you'll be able to do a second half preview.
of baseball. Well,
I
no,
like-
if we're doing it on the 21st, All-Star game will have been a week or earlier.
I do very well in baseball, except for the week before the All-Star game and the week after the All-Star game. I don't know. The break in the action bothers me. It
Yeah.
breaks up the consistency, and I don't do well in those 2 weeks.
I don't know
So
if you're
I-
having issues or just confusion, Jim, this year with all the pitchers that go like an inning or two before turning it over to what is normally the starter, who's going to now
That's
be
so
the long
crazy.
relief guy. I hate that stuff.
The Nationals do that a lot.
Well, the thing is now there are a number of books that don't allow you to list pitchers anymore for that very reason,
Yeah.
because the starter's not going to start the game, but he's going to still pitch the bulk of the innings.
Yeah, actually, the Nationals use their guy for two innings actually for 7 outs.
Yeah,
So
and they're playing well. They've got a shot at a wild card this year.
how crazy is it of how much better the teams in the NL are compared to the
Yeah.
AL?
Oh, you got two divisions where the leaders are basically 500 teams. Although one of those 500 teams is having a great season. That's the White Sox in the Central.
So
I think
you
Texas
guys
and Seattle are back and forth in the West.
you guys will have a lot to talk about with baseball in a few weeks when Jim
And even
returns.
the Yankees are moving full steam ahead to mediocrity, which is a downward trajectory for them. 7 straight losses,
well,
and some of them been ugly.
Finally, the injury caught up with them.
Yeah. Well, the injury and I think lack of depth on the roster, which again is Brian Cashman's fault.
How
I
can
think
you
they
not
were
have
running
depth
a lot
on
of
the
their minor
roster when
leaguers.
they have a payroll like that?
Because they overspend for some of that talent. Ryan McMahon.
Yeah,
and,
they got some high priced
yeah.
guys, that's for sure.
best guy on that team this year with everybody else seems to be Bellinger. As far as the offense goes.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
All right,
So
guys, I gotta
again,
go.
we'll see everybody again next week, next Friday. We'll see Jim in a couple of weeks. Andy, appreciate it. Have a great week, and see everybody soon.
Bye bye.
Thanks to all the listeners. Yes, have great weeks.